Thank you, Sabha, for the introduction. Good evening, everyone who's joined in here. I hope you all are interested in what I'm going to speak about. We have an hour to talk about something that is, I think, very important for us in our life. It's about taking breaks and something which is very, very underrated. So, without further ado, I have a little presentation that I've made for people who want to read. This is some pointers, and I'm going to try and make it as interactive as possible. So, I would love it if you guys put in your comments in this comment section. If you want to speak to me, you can raise your hands and we can go do that as well. All right, so just give me a second to share the screen. There you go. All right, so 1 second, please. Can you see me? See the screen clear now? All right.
Yeah.
So yes, before we start, actually, I wanted to ask everybody, what do you think is a break? Does anybody want to respond to that? What is a break? What do you think? I can't see the comment section. What is a break? Doesn't anybody know what's a break? Yes? Anyone? No? Normal general break, like break time, school mein, college mein. I don't think I can see the chat section. Sabha, do you see anything responding? Anybody responding to the chat?
Yeah, Swaroop has responded. He says it's time away from routine.
Wonderful. Yes, time away from routine. Anybody else?
There's a few more coming in.
Oh, great. How do I open the chat section for myself here? I'm using Zoom for such a long time. I'm like lost at the moment. If I use Google Meet more often, I'm not able to. Could you please read out the comments for me?
Sure. So someone, Rohan says it's a refreshment of mind, a pause. Some others are a pause, time away from.
Okay. Nice song, but please put yourself on mute. Yes.
Time away from day-to-day chores and taking a pause. Time for yourself away from any kind of chaos. Me time, relaxing from work mentally, coming out of your normal routine and spending time with yourself. A pause that stops your brain, change of work, to do our regular work more efficiently. We need a break, a dynamic situation which breaks the consistency of something, taking time from yourself, relaxing and rebooting.
Wonderful. So yes, everybody has an idea of what a break is. Wonderful. A break is an interruption in continuity. Anything that you're doing, right? A break, it can be a break from, like, a lot of people said relaxing time, me time. It can be a break from that as well. Right? You can have a break from me time as well, right? So anything, a pause, an interruption in anything which has been happening continuously for a long time is a break. Now there are types of breaks, right? We don't realize that most often we, focus on a 1 or 2 breaks. That is maybe a physical break is, I think, most often people practice. That is, okay, I'll just get away from my table and go sit somewhere else. But in that moment, if I'm still thinking about work, that's not a break. That's just a physical break that I've given myself. So the mental break does not happen in that time, right? So there are types of breaks. There's a mental break, there's a physical break, there's a social break, and there's a spiritual break. In a mental break, as I said, for example, I've been thinking about this project for like all day right now. That's all that's been on my mind. I need to give my mind a break from this, even if it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. So that 10 minutes I take away from this is a break from that thought process, even, right? That's a break too. That's a mental break. Doing nothing for 5 minutes is a mental break of thinking about anything in life, right? We're constantly thinking about something or the other. Ye karna hai, wo karna hai. I have to do this tomorrow. I have to do this today. Or I didn't do this yesterday. Oh, I did that in the past. Either the past or the future, right? So a break from that, thinking about nothing, just being, just breathing. That's a mental break. A physical break. A lot of individuals have physical work, like, for example, housemakers. My God, they're constantly doing something in the kitchen, in the hall, in then taking kids to school, constantly physically moving all the time. So physical break is just letting your body be, lying down, sitting in a corner, sitting in a chair, doing nothing, just letting it rest. That's a physical break. Social break. In today's time, I think the social break is more about break from actually socializing, because we are so out there socially on social media now that away from that would be a social break. But there's the other also is valid. So, for example, somebody who's not interacting socially with friends and family for a very long time just because of work, been busy with just work, and has not got into extracurricular activities, you can take a social break and go meet your friends one day of the week and give that time for yourself to interact socially. Spiritual break. Spiritual break is a time where a lot of individuals do go through in that time to time actually. It happens most often when things happen in your life and when you start thinking about life, like, oh, what is this happening with me? Why is this happening to me? That's actually a spiritual break that you're taking to think, what are you really doing? Until then, we are in auto mode. Like, life is going on, things are happening, you're just doing. When you take that break to actually think, oh, what am I doing? What is this happening? That's kind of a spiritual break that you're giving yourself. Yes, these are little examples that I've given for the types of breaks. Now, then my next question is, why don't we take breaks so often? What makes it so difficult for us to take a break? Why is it that we, don't even think about it at times and just go days without taking breaks? What do you think? Does anybody have anything to say about that? Why do you think we don't take breaks? I need to figure this out.
Someone says
yes, please,
because they worry.
Yes, because they worry. Worry about what?
We don't actually get help from the break. And someone else said hustle culture.
Hustle culture, correct. What is this hustle culture?
It's difficult to find the off switch, Kunal says.
Interesting. Yes, absolutely difficult to find the off switch. You're in auto mode, no? So we don't know now. We're just going. Yes.
Guilt about taking breaks and worry about going out of sync with people. Yeah.
Absolutely. Very, very common. Yes.
And that we're constantly. Yeah, sorry. There's so many coming in. Constantly running behind something else, overthinking.
Yes.
We're constantly focused on ongoing things and peer pressure.
Definitely. All of these contribute so much. The guilt, the feeling of being left out, right? That I will be left out in the whole rat race, for example, and constantly seeking something, that we're in this auto mode of constantly getting something. And if I'm not getting something, that means I'm losing something. Right? That's what we all believe more often, right?
There's more. Someone says that they don't know how long a break should last.
Interesting.
Everyone's always running a competitive race. Responsibilities, priorities, and liabilities, not letting people take a break.
I lost your
no
audio.
Time to take a break.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And that we overestimate our day-to-day activities, and hence we are overloaded with work. So we're afraid to take a minute of break even. The stress of getting delayed in your tasks, pressure from the organization that you're unable to avoid, and the fear of losing focus and time.
Definitely. Hello, people. Please mute yourselves. Thank you. Yes. So definitely, all of this various reasons we do, not take breaks. Now, the one thing common in all of what I've heard is that we're constantly after something, and if we're not, we're losing out. We are going to stay back, or going to lose out, or again, someone else said overestimating the day. So we put so many things. We have to keep doing. The need to do more. Right? The need to keep doing and keep running after something has been so conditioned into us. So what I call it the chase. We keep chasing. All our lives, we're constantly chasing something, right? So what is this chase? So about the break, the importance of break, I'm actually going to give both aspects. That one is a psychological aspect of what this chase does to us and how why we don't take breaks. Yeah. Yeah? Better? Okay. So one is the psychological aspect, and the other is the biological aspect of what the chase does to us, of what not taking a break does to us. Right? I'm going to try to cover both in the session, starting with the psychological aspect. Yeah. So as I mentioned, the chase. Why is it that we're always chasing something? We're constantly after something or the other. Now, what I understand why we're constantly after chasing something or the other is to prove our worth, to get external validation, because it has been conditioned into us to believe that the only way that you can be happy and most importantly secure mentally and resourcefully with yourself is by getting these things, by achieving these things, by these marks, benchmarks of success or benchmarks of intelligence or benchmarks of things where it makes you feel worthy enough, smart enough, intelligent enough, successful enough, all of these things. Please note, we were not like this since birth. We were not like this as a child, right? So I would like to start with a simple example to may help you understand how it's been conditioned into us, this chase, right? So we all remember how in school we were told कि अच्छे marks लाओगे, that means if you get good marks, you'll get a chocolate, you'll get a cycle, you'll get this, you'll get that, or your mom will be like, oh, I'm so proud of you, I'm so happy with you. Your father would be like, I'm proud of you, happy with you, etc. What did I learn from this is that if I meet these standards, right, of what they expect from me, of what these societal standards are, my parents will be happy with me. And now when my parents are happy with me, they, in their eyes, I'm a good child, I'm a smart child, I'm a bright child, I'm the golden child, etc., etc. Right? Now that makes me feel good about myself because my parents are my primary caretakers. For children, the first world is our parents. The outside world comes later. So in my world, these two people who are my close one look at me as this amazing thing who's done well in school, got these things, right? Now I learned that, okay, to feel good, to feel worthy, to feel enough, I just need to do these things. And unconsciously also to feel loved. Because as a child, I don't care about these constructs which are there in the society. I don't know these constructs in the society. All I know is I want my parents' love, right? Or even security. For the most not privileged people, even security matters. Yeah, they realize, okay, if I do this, I can earn money, I can run the house, I can get food, I can get shelter, right? So two important things are our emotional needs and emotional security, and even resources security that has been fulfilled by this pattern of getting things, getting more and more. Which now what happens is puts us in this perpetual state with a need to do more. Because now we've learned that I do this, I'm worthy. I get this, I'm successful. I get this, I'm secure. This is what we learn with each time that we achieve these benchmarks now. And now this becomes a normal, right? Because with time, I also feel good with myself when I get good marks, when I get a good job, when I get a car, right? I've started feeling good about myself. I started looking at myself as this amazing person who's smart, intelligent, rich, successful from this societal view, right? So now the mind registers this as the right thing to do because it's making me feel happy. It's making me feel secure, right? And that's the mind's job. The mind doesn't like to go into the insecure place. Insecure in the mind is a threat. So it searches for security. So if this gives me security, the mind is like, okay, keep doing this. Keep giving me this security, keep giving me this happiness. So we keep doing things, keep running after things to keep sustaining this pattern and keep feeling good about ourselves. Now, since the mind is conditioned now, what happens is in this way, the mind gets conditioned to believe that this is the only way of feeling good about yourself. Because with time, we've only ventured into this way of feeling good about ourselves. So the mind, because it's time, this is the only thing that the mind knows. It believes it's the only way as well. Nothing else was taught to us to feel good about ourselves. This is what I was taught to us: ki marks leke aao, job leke aao, wo leke aao, right? So now this leads us to feel now, since the mind believes this is the only way, since the mind believes this is the right way, that's where the guilt comes into picture. What does guilt mean? Guilt means something wrong has happened, right? So now when you take a break and when you're not running after something and when you're not doing more, the mind is like, oh, no, you're doing something wrong. Because if you don't do, you will not feel worthy, you will not feel enough, right? And that's an insecure place to be, and that's wrong. So that's where the guilt comes into picture. So therefore, whenever we take a break or don't follow this pattern, very often we look at ourselves as useless. Right? You know how we look at it. Most often, this is what even I have felt in various ways. Right? When I've not done anything that I felt like, oh, I was so useless today because I didn't do anything to prove my worth, to feel productive, to feel like, oh, I am, smart or I'm something, right? That's what we normally feel, useless or worthless. And this is why one of the reasons which is difficult for us to take a break, that feeling that I'm worthless or useless is actually an insecure place to be. And the mind does not know how to deal with it. Therefore, it keeps running on this pattern of loop. Now, the next bit is we don't understand now what this chase after these external validations or achieving things that externally has done to us. At an unconscious level, what we've learned is that if we don't achieve these certain benchmarks, then I'm nothing. That is what I've learned. If I don't have all of this, then I'm nothing. It has taught us that the only way of feeling enough is by constantly chasing these things, by constantly getting more. Now, therefore, we attach our self-worth to it, now causing us to chase one mark of validation after the another, right? Because it's attached to it. Now, it taught us to look at ourselves from this lens of external validation. So now when we look at ourselves, of, oh, what job qualification do I have? How much money do I make? How much academic qualification do I have? The societal lens, basically. And then if it's not according to society, if it's not great, then I think I'm not great. I'm not enough, right? But I would like to tell you something. Worth is not something that you achieve through these benchmarks. Worth is inherent. Everything has its own worth, right? If you look at plants, if you look at animals, you look at stones, even gemstones, etc. Everything has its own worth. It comes in it with its own worth. Even living beings, right? It's not attached to external validation. That's what the conditioning and the societal expectation has done to us. What now it does is, since we are all in this chase now, one every day, we often lead to deprive us of our own needs. Now, for example, today I want to take a break, but I'm tired. My body is telling me that I cannot do anymore, right? I'm exhausted. But then this pattern of mine is like, no, you still need to keep doing more, because if you don't, you're losing out. You're going to be left behind, etc. So now I'm not listening to my body. I'm not listening to my mind. There's things happening. My stomach is upset. My body is showing signs. I'm getting back pain. Everything's happening, but I'm not listening. Second thing is, what it doesn't allow us is, it doesn't allow us to just be here in this moment, experience life in its true sense, right? In this moment, what's happening around me, I'm not experiencing. I'm constantly like, what to do next. Now, ask yourself today, as I started this part with, that the chase was started to meet our emotional needs, to feel that I'm secure, to feel that I'm loved and accepted, to feel like I'm something. Ask yourself today, are you depriving yourself now of these physical and mental needs, which you started this pattern for, right? Just for by running after these external validations. That's the irony of it. We started all of this to feel happy, to feel content, to feel loved, accepted, and to feel secure. But in the end, is this chase really giving you that, or is it making it worse, making you feel more insecure, making you feel more not accepted or more bad about yourself? So ask yourself that. And yes, the other part is it really worth it? Yes, for yourself, to exhaust yourself, your body, this mind and body that you're doing all of this for, is it worth it to make it go through so much? Yes, that's two questions. The next bit now, as I said, I want to help you understand the scientific part of it, the science behind it. To help understand the importance of taking a break, you have to first understand what stress does to the body, right? That is where you will understand how important it is to take a break. So to understand the effect of stress on body, we all know that most of us know that the stress response in our body. When there is a threat, there is a response in our body that's called the fight, flight, freeze response. It's a programmed response in our body. When this program is triggered now, there's a few things which happen in the body, in the mind. There are a few changes which happen, which is different from the normal. It's not a normal state. It's not a balanced state, right? Your body now, when you're relaxing, is in a balanced state. In a stress response, it's not in a balanced state. It's actually triggered. It's fight, flight, freeze. So it's like the body feels like, oh, it needs to do something, right? So what you see, few of the things that I've mentioned here is increased alertness, increased short-term strength, increased ability to handle stress, right? All of these that I mentioned. I want to help you understand a little bit more than what is mentioned here. So when there is a threat, if for example, there is an earthquake, right? I need to be able to run. Now for that, my hands and legs need to be able to function, right? Do something right now. So the program is made that way in our body. My mind needs to be alert. It has to take actions quick to move away from here, right? So now in a stress response, what happens is now the blood supply goes more towards your hands and legs, your muscles. Yes. Your brain has been on hyper mode, hyper alert mode. Yes. Second is now there is a shortness in breath. Why is there a shortness in breath? Because the blood supply is going to the muscles. It's not going to the lungs. It's not going to the lungs. It's not going to the vital organs below. All of the major blood supply has gone to the hands and legs. Yes. The other bit is now glucose is utilized. The stress hormone which is released utilizes glucose to make sure this activity happens. Because this is a hyperactivity, right? So there's a lot of sugar glucose needed. Glucose is the energy power, energy for yourself. So that is utilized to make sure all of this happens. Now, the immune system is lowered. We tell the immune system, you shut up and stay there, don't use the energy. We need all this energy to be able to fight, flight, freeze. So the immune system is also lowered, right? Now imagine all the vital organs have less blood supply. Now when the vital organs have less blood supply, that means those systems are also not working properly. So for example, the digestive system is not getting blood supply properly. So that means digestion has been slowed down. My excretory system is also slowed down. Every of these systems which are there in the vital organs, which include the vital organs, have been slowed down. Now, this is programmed as a short-term response. It's an acute response. Yes, this program is only for the moment when there is a threat. Threat came, I dealt with it, I fight or ran away or whatever, and then I come back to normal. That's how this program works. Now, what happens when the stress is there continuously? Mind you, the stress need not be just physical. It can be psychological as well, and both are taken as the same. Now, when this stress is there continuously, what happens is now this response, what I just told you about, is happening continuously. That means less blood supply going to the digestive system, increased glucose being utilized, less oxygen now because there's shortness of breath, right? Again, the next part is it leads to a dysregulated nervous system. What does that mean? As I said, there's a hyper alert state that the brain goes into. Normal balance state, hyper alert state. Now, if I'm chronically in stress, that is this state, what happens is now the mind thinks this is the new normal. To come down and go back, it's a lot of use of energy, right? So now my mind stays in this. My nervous system adapts to this situation and normally starts staying in this hyper state now. If you actually notice in yourself, we don't realize that most of us are actually in hyper state most of the day. It's just that we've gotten used to it. We've gotten used to this hyperactivity in us. We just tell, oh, this is how I am. But that's not the balanced state of your body. It's not. It's just that we've gotten used to this hyper state, right? So normalizing this hyper state and adapting to it. So your nervous system has been hyper state, has been normalized to a hyper state. This now leads to a dysregulated system, that is dysregulated digestive system, dysregulated reproductive system, excretory, immune system, endocrine system, leading to lack of, now, for example, if your digestive system is not well, that means no nourishment that you're eating, no nutrients that you're eating is actually going to your body. It's not being digested properly. It's not being absorbed properly. So nourishment is not going well. Your immune system is lowered. What does that mean? Immune system is lowered. That means high chances of getting inflammations, high chances of getting infection. Endocrine system. Endocrine system is a hormonal system. So basically the dysregulation of hormones happen. Now, since glucose has been utilized regularly, now the normal state of being is high glucose usage. This normally leads to, and I forgot to mention, I think, increased heart rate and increased blood pressure is one of the common signs in a stress response. Now, increased blood pressure also becomes the new normal now in this hyper state. This leads to hypertension and diabetes. We look at this as an illness because that's not how a normal body is supposed to be. But what it really is an adaptation to the dysregulated nervous system. Because my body has stayed in this state for so long, my body thinks this is how it's supposed to function now. It's learned to function in this high blood pressure, high sugar state, right? This is how it leads to a lot of chronic illnesses, a lot of stress. Stagnation of growth. What does stagnation of growth mean here? Now, when my nervous system is in fight, flight, freeze response, that means it's not in growth mode, it's in survival mode. When I'm in stress, my body thinks I'm on constantly fighting something. So I'm in survival mode. So that means what is happening is this all the resources are being used to fight this survival mode rather than for growth of the cell, some growth of the functioning of the system. So there's stagnation of growth, leading to depletion of existing resources, which leads to deficiencies in nourishment. There is vitamin deficiencies, mineral deficiencies. All of these deficiencies come from this state as well because there's stagnation of growth happening. Even since now it's working from lack, there's less resources. There is again adaptations done to that, and according to that, now the body starts malfunctioning, right? So this is one of the effects that it happens on a body on a chronic state. When your body is going through stress in a chronic state without letting it come to a balance and normal, it's always like this. This will eventually happen. You need to bring it back to a balanced state. You need to constantly bring your nervous system to a balanced state. Yes. So the nervous system adaptations here. What I mean by nervous system adaptation, so I always talk about this, even in other talks about mental illnesses. A lot of people say it's a mental disorder, it's an illness. I agree, it is a disorder compared to what is normal, but they're all results of an adaptation. Right now, if my mind thinks I need to fight, flight, freeze every time at work, my mind has adapted to this state of being. Now, that's not nice because that's an anxious state, but it's disordered because it's your body is not in balance, it's in hyper. Therefore, now leading to anxiety disorders where your body is continuously in fight, flight, freeze response. That's a disorder because it's not the normal state. You must have heard a lot of people saying that, oh, I thrive in stress. I function well in my anxiety. A lot of individuals say this, but that's because your body is adapted to it. Does not mean it's great. Does not mean it's healthy. Yes. Diabetes, high blood pressure, as I mentioned, OCD, addictions. OCD's addictions, again, a lot of individuals resort to binge eating. Now, imagine when I'm stressing, if glucose is being utilized in my body, right? A lot of glucose is being utilized. That means glucose is less in my body. So what do? My body craves sugar now. My body's like, no, I need to put this back in. So I keep eating. That's one of the reasons that most of us binge eat when we are stressful, because my mind is utilizing all of this glucose and it needs more of it to keep going. That's one of the reasons we actually do binge eating, right? So a lot of these patterns and health illnesses come from a very, very chronic stress state. If you actually look into your life, you will see these little things here and there. Yes. The other aspect, signs and effects of burnout. Now, I know you must have heard about burnout here and there while in your workspace as well. It is a chronic state. It is a state before you reach mental illnesses, what I spoke about right now. Before you reach disorders, before you reach those illness, chronic states. You can notice this in your day-to-day life, in your month, in this last month, where have you felt this? You can actually look at it and you can see that I have felt this last month. I have felt burnt out last month. I felt burnt out last week. Yes, you can definitely see this. So few symptoms are the psychological and the physical symptoms. What are the psychological symptoms? That is, there's reduced performance and productivity. We reach mental exhaustion. It's like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know what to do this anymore. Don't feel like doing this anymore. There's lack of motivation which happens. Detachment, right? Complete detachment. Don't want to do this anymore. Because I'm continuously doing. No, I'm always doing. There's no break in my mind. So it reaches that space. Low mood, difficulty in concentrating, lack of creativity, fatigue, negative attitude towards one's co-workers or job. Yes. Low commitment to the role, loss of purpose, absenteeism, quickness to anger, job turnover, cynicism, emotional numbness, and even frustration. Yes. These are the psychological symptoms that you may have noticed, not all together, but here and there you might have definitely experienced this in your past week or month. The physical symptoms. These are some things which we actually omit and be like, it's a regular thing. Headaches, generalized aches. Now, I want to tell you what I mean by generalized aches. That means suddenly your body, so full body is aching a little bit here and there. I don't understand, but there is this pain in my body after work. Those are generalized aches. There's a reason for this. As I mentioned earlier, in a fight flight response, all your blood supply is going to your hands and legs for it to do something, right? You run or you fight. But now when there's psychological stress, you're not using your hands and legs. You're using your brain only, right? So now all this blood supply which has gone to these muscles and made it tense to do something we don't do. So the tension stays because I've not released the tension with any movement to fight or flight. That's why the response is the program. So now what happens is now the tension stays in your body. So best way to deal with it is include a physical activity in your day to release this physical tension, because tension does build in your body. It stays in your body, yes, which then leads to other disorders. Gastrointestinal disorders. As I mentioned, if the digestive system is not getting good blood supply, digestion will be affected. So therefore, either constipation, diarrhea, even stomach infections can happen. Hypertension, difficulty sleeping, disruptive sleep cycle, increased susceptibility to cold and flu due to reduced immunity, and as I mentioned, muscle tension. Yes, these are a few signs and effects of burnout that you definitely might have observed. So I want to tell you, if you ever see yourself experiencing any of this, take a step back and check with yourself what you need to do for it. Take a step back, to take a break, to breathe, to just, even if it's like 20 minutes or 30 minutes in the day, whatever it is, you need to take care of yourself in that time, realizing that you cannot burn anymore. Like it's that, like the picture shows here, right? It's the matchstick is burning itself completely. It's not serving its purpose anymore. It's gone. It's not going to be there anymore. Yes. Yes. Science behind taking breaks. Now that you've understood what the stress does to you, right? How the stress affects your body. Now you understand how the nervous system is affected. What the break does is slows down your nervous system. When you take a break from this going on, doing fighting, flighting, what am I doing? I'm breaking it. So now the nervous system is feeling, oh, I'm not in stress. I'm calm, come back. Now it's slowly coming down to a balanced state. So this break from this hyper state of being is what a break does. Thereby feeling relaxed and not in a survival mode, reducing the stress. When you're not in the survival mode, it promotes growth mentally and physically, which is the normal functioning of the body, by the way. Our body is growing every day. That is the normal functioning of the body. But stress actually inhibits that growth in a way. Yes. So what happens is now when it's relaxed, now my cells are all happy. It's getting good blood supply. It's getting digestion is happening. Good nourishment is happening. All my cells are growing. All parts of my body is growing and they're all flourishing in it. Yes. And thereby increasing performance in you. So even physical and mental performance both increases during this time, reducing chances of burnout. Practicing breaks, taking breaks regularly. What we do by it is train the mind to be in this state, not this state, in a balanced state for more than the hyper state, helping you develop a more relaxed state of mind. So what am I doing now? For example, if I take a break in the day, I take 3 breaks in the day. Yes. Now, every time I'm taking a break, I'm just being here, doing nothing. I'm telling my mind, come back here. Yes, I'm telling my mind to come back here. Every time I do this, now I'm telling my mind, this is not the normal. I don't want this. I want this. I'm consciously bringing my mind to a balanced state. If I keep doing this, now my mind will start doing it automatically with time. It's just like building muscles, right? Like, when you go to the gym, you keep building it, and slowly start the muscle become stronger. You're building your brain muscle like this by bringing to a calmer state and a balanced state by regularly practicing breaks in the day. Improve mental and physical health. I believe the last few slides would have made you understand how it improves your mental and physical health. Studies have also shown that how it increases your focus and concentration, because now the brain is not feeling it's in a stressful situation. It doesn't feel that. So now it's in a balanced state, and now it can pay attention to things rather than the stress your body is going through. When you're in stress, your body is paying attention to stress more than anything that you're doing. We don't realize it. It's become automatic. The body is taking care of this threat in the body because it feels it's in threat, right? And whatever it is that is causing that stress, it's focusing on that, not on finding a way of learning or understanding or being productive, nothing. It's just trying to make sure that this threat goes away. That's what the body is doing. But now when I'm in a relaxed state, I can actually focus and concentrate and see other things than the stressful things and see better things. That's why when people say that take breaks, your creativity will increase. Definitely it will, because you start seeing other things than the stress There's the big block that is there, right? And improves memory as well. Studies suggest like even sleep improves memory, so better sleep improves memory. And even taking breaks, what it does is when you take breaks, you're giving your brain time to process whatever that you have read, whatever that you've understood, and just review it and ingrain that into your memory. Yes, so improves memory definitely. The next bit is a mindful practice. This is my favorite. Now, as I mentioned, that we're running from one moment to another, right? So between past and the future, never in this moment, yeah, never experiencing this life truly in its all senses. We've been given all these senses, that is smell and touch and everything, but we're not using it properly only. Like we're here now. Now, if I'm supposed, for example, I've gone to eat this amazing dinner. I went to eat some really nice Chinese with yummy food, and I've got this taste buds to actually experience this yummy food. I'm blessed with it. But now when I have this yummy food, I'm on this phone. I'm looking at these videos. I'm looking at, or if I'm looking at work also, some email, something. Now my mind has gone into this. So now I'm 100% not this. I'm not experiencing these taste buds 100%. I'm not experiencing this yummy, yummy food that I've actually worked so hard for to pay for even. I'm not experiencing this truly, right? So what is the point? Right? So mindful practice in short is what? Being there in the present. Yes. And the other aspect of mindful practice is being there in the present and seeing and listening to your mind and body. Right. So for example, many a times when we are eating food as well, there are certain things, if you pay attention, you realize that your gut doesn't like. But if you're on the phone, you don't realize. Sometimes you get stomach upset and you're like, I don't know what happened. I got a stomach upset. You didn't pay attention to the food that went into your stomach. Your mouth and your body must have told you something while you were eating it, but you didn't pay attention. So mindful practice means being present in the moment with yourself, with your mind and body wholly. Right? What your body is experiencing, what your mind is experiencing, everything. That is what a mindful practice means, which automatically helps you to understand yourself and your needs better, right? And helps you in that moment decide what to do next better, right? How can one do this as a daily practice and as a part of a lifestyle, right? This is one thing that I started with, which I've mentioned here, is I put an alarm in my day. There are 3 alarms. Every time the alarm rings, all you need to do is, it's a 5-minute alarm. All you need to do is take a break, a 5-minute break, and in that 5-minute break, maybe have a sip of water. If you're sitting throughout the day, get up, stretch your body. For a few seconds, close your eyes, breathe. Just be there with yourself and breathe. What I normally do is actually just ground myself and breathe. I'm going to actually do the grounding and breathing technique after this to help you, take this back home and practice this, because trust me, it's very simple, but it's one of the best practices that you can start doing in your life and realizing how it really feels. When you're with your body, when you start doing the deep breathing exercises, you realize you will experience that relaxed state in your body. You will actually understand, oh, I was stressed before this. Right? When you start getting relaxed, when you realize, oh, my body was in so much tension before this, I didn't even realize it. Yes. So what I do is I put 3 alarms in a day, and whenever they do, I take a time to have some water, stretch, and breathe. Yes. So stretching for the releasing the tension, as I mentioned. Next is plan your short breaks and long breaks. So this is you kind of being responsible of yourself, right? Because we don't know what can happen in the day. We don't know. We'll be like, acha, break le lenge. Now, if I'm telling break le lenge, nahi hone wala. It's not going to happen, right? Because my auto mode is what? That I'm going to work. And that's what's going to happen. I'm aware of this, that now my auto mode is this, that unless I don't do something or plan something, it's not going to happen. So plan your short breaks and long breaks. So short breaks can be lunch break or snack break. Long breaks, what I mean by long breaks is, break for over a weekend or break for, a week even, right? Plan your vacation. You're like, okay, realize that, oh, I've worked hard for the past 2-3 months. Now, after 3 months, for 1 week, I'm going to go and do nothing and take a vacation for myself, right? So plan this for yourself, because your body and mind needs it. And in fact, now, for example, if I've been working really hard for the past 1 month and I know that I'm going for a week, after this, my mind also feels like, okay, I'm getting some reward for all of this. So it definitely will work from a place of flourishment again. The other, again, as I said, listen to your body. If you feel your body is telling you that I am done for the day, yes, and If you feel like, I understand not all the time can you, if you have like deadlines, etc., can be difficult at times, but you can still listen to it for 5 minutes. A lot of people say, oh, I had so much work, I had to give the deadline tomorrow, so I can't listen to my body. I need to sacrifice my body. But if your body, for example, the whole day I'm sitting and working, yes, and now my back has started aching, but I have to finish this project now. I've realized my back has started aching. Now get up from there. At least give yourself that 10 minutes walk. Go out and maybe go for a walk. Stretch your body. Take a 15-minute walk. Whatever it is, you can definitely give yourself that. If you feel like, or change your posture, give yourself support. Whatever it is that you need to do at that moment. So listen to your body. Yes. Eat mindfully. It's small practice to do it, right? Now, as I said about, we are so used to being in front of a screen while eating. I don't think anybody can eat without a screen anymore. I don't remember anyone the last time that they're eating by themselves who've done that. I'm guilty of it myself. I'm not being a saint here, right? So we're so used to doing that we take the plate and we're like full on in the screen. So what's happening is now there's a disconnect right here. My mind is there and my body is here with the food. So there's an absolute disconnect of the mind and body here, which doesn't help your mind and body being relaxed now. The mind is constantly thinking what's happening in that series. Right? So when you're having your lunch, and if you want to make this as a practice, these are little things you can do, right? Lunch break, take your food, sit with it, and when you're eating it now, just pay attention to every bite that goes into your mouth and every morsel, and experience that taste, that yummy food that's going into your mouth. Experience it, sit with it, and just maybe look out into the nature if you want to, but not a screen. Try doing that. Start with that. Yes. So once that, as I said, spending time in nature is another one. Nature, if I start today, I can speak lots about it. But nature is one of the most humbling, grounding teacher you can ever have. Yes. Spending time in nature can truly, if you spend time in nature every day, you're going to be a different person by the end of a month. Try it. It's not even, there are facts to it, there are studies to it, right? Because what nature really does is it grounds you, it humbles you, it shows you the beauty of just being. Nature is not doing anything. You see a tree, the tree is just being there in its all its beauty. You look at a tree, the tree has done nothing. You find it beautiful, isn't it? You see the birds are doing their own thing. You find it beautiful, isn't it? So when you see all of these things, you start seeing and realizing that the natural state of being is actually quite beautiful. That you don't have to do too much. You don't have to be so much more to feel this beautiful. Nature shows you that the natural state of being is beautiful. When you start experiencing it, now your body will start realizing, you know what, I want to be in this state of just being and enjoying and flourishing and growing. Because if you look at nature, nature is not trying to be anything else, trying to prove anything. No, it's just being and flourishing is growing, right? So spend time in nature in your day and do something creative just for you. And that's the reason I mentioned that just for you, because very often when we pick up something creative, we think like, oh, I'm not good at it, so I shouldn't do it. Like, for example, painting or singing, dancing. It's not for anybody. It's not about good or bad. It's about the whole experience. It's about the whole process of you giving yourself that space to explore and just be without any agenda. The thing is, we've been living our life so many years with an agenda of keep proving. When we feel like to do something which has no agenda, we feel it again, it's useless, is the word that comes in mind most often. That is like, what will I get out of it? So it's useless. Nothing. You get that moment with yourself. You get that experience with yourself. You get to know yourself, and that's enough. Yes. Plan your vacations, as I mentioned. You absolutely need it. Each one of us needed that break once in a while. A walk, yoga, or a physical activity. Very, very important. I think everybody should. I mean, we all know the benefits of physical activity, but I think everybody should include it, because that's, again, you spending time with your body, right? And especially a practice like yoga, it's mind and body connecting in the practice itself. If you start doing yoga, you realize that you can't be actually in thoughts for too long, because each pose is so much of mind and body connect that you'll be there with yourself in those moments throughout it, right? So it's a wonderful practice. Yes. So now coming to the grounding techniques and breathing techniques. So this is something that you can do in your 5-minute break, right? Every day, take 3 weeks or 5 minutes. Few grounding techniques. Now, what is a grounding technique? Before I tell you the grounding techniques, I'll tell you what is a grounding technique. The grounding technique is to ground you. As I said, this is a hyper state we are to bring it to a balanced state. What I mean by grounding technique here is that we're using our senses to bring our mind to the present here, to the ground. This is where we are, this ground, not where the mind thinks it is, somewhere in the past or future. It's not there. We're here, right? So one of the very efficient and commonly known grounding technique is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. We use our senses to ground ourselves. So the first thing is, now I would like everybody to try it with themselves to see how it works. So the first thing is 5 things that you see around you, right? So whenever you want to ground yourself, look at 5 things that you see around you. So for example, my mug, my laptop, my fan, the light, the TV, the chair, and my airport case. 5 things. Now bring your attention to these 5 things that you see around you. 4 things that I can touch. Now 4 things I can touch. Okay, I can touch this table, this woody texture of the table. I can touch my cloth where there's fine threads of the cloth that I can feel. I can touch my hair where I can feel the texture of my hair, where I feel a little rough on the split ends. Bring your notice to whatever it is. You can feel that. 1, I can feel my skin. Yes. So 4 things you can touch. 3 things that you can hear. 1, I can hear my fan. I can hear this dog. If you can hear my dog, he keeps barking in between. I can hear him. I can hear maybe my neighbors or somebody out on the TV. 3 things I can hear. So bring your attention to the things around you. 2 things that I can smell. What can I smell? I can smell my perfume. I can smell my shampoo. Easiest thing available. It's all on you, actually. You can really use your body and things around you. I can smell them and be there in that smell and enjoy that smell. One thing you can taste. The easiest thing to taste is a sip of water. So have a sip of water that night. Now, what are we doing here? We have used the senses to come here, pay attention to what's around you, where you are with yourself. I've used the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique to do this. Many times, a lot of individuals feel more overwhelmed doing this. So another one is counting backwards from 100. So now what the thing is, this is like tricking your mind. I'm sitting and I'm like, okay, 100, 99, 98, 90. So whatever thought process I was in, whatever stressful thought process I was in, I've left that and I've come to this little, like a childish play that I'm playing with myself, right? 100, 99, 98, 97, 96, 97. Okay, now by the time I reach like to a certain level, I'm like, oh, okay, fine, I'm calm. I've come to a relaxed state. Other few ways are splashing some cold water on your face. We're using the touch sensation here. Yes, the temperature sensation here. So and even the movement of water on your face, that splash, so that will again ground you and bring you here. Last one is, now a lot of times when I am in an environment which can trigger me easily, right? So for example, the workspace itself or somebody, my boss itself is triggering me. So all of this is not working. Because in this environment itself, I'm feeling stressed, right? So in this moment, what I advise normally people to do is close your eyes and go to your happy place. Especially in a workplace, if you're feeling stressed and that none of this is working for you, close your eyes and go to your happy place for 5 minutes. It can be the beach, it can be the mountains, it can be a beautiful palace, it can be anything that you want it to be. Go to that place, imagine it, experience it, feel the breeze coming, imagine the sun, imagine the clouds, all of this. Now, these are few ways of grounding yourself. These are just a few. There are many more available on the internet, by the way. These are few that I've written here. Next is my favorite, is the breathing technique. Now, the breathing technique sounds very simple, I know. And every one of you might be thinking, breathing, say, what will it do really to me? I know, trust me, I understand that. But if you start practicing, and I still practice this, by the way, because I'm human, I feel stressed too, I feel anxious too. And whenever I do, I immediately resort to my breathing techniques. Yes. So the 2 breathing techniques that I'm going to teach you today is belly breathing and box breathing. Belly breathing is also known as diaphragmatic breathing. Yes. So the belly breathing now, what you need to do is take 1 palm and put it on your chest. I would advise you guys to try it with me, because you'll actually feel the release of tension in your body. Right? So 1 palm on your chest, 1 palm on your stomach. What we're going to do is we're going to inhale for 4 seconds. We're going to hold for 4 seconds, and we're going to exhale for 8 seconds. The exhale is longer than the inhale. When you inhale now, your tummy, your belly needs to inflate more than your chest. So take in as much as possible. All right, starting now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? Do it again one more time. I'm just going to count for you guys and you can try it with yourself. So inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The longer the exhale, there's more release of toxins happening. You're releasing that tension with that exhale. Yes. What's really happening at the scientific level here is now your diaphragm. There's this muscle below your lungs. Here, the lungs, and below this, there's this dome called the diaphragm, which expands while you breathe in and exhale. Now, what's happening here scientifically is when I'm inhaling and exhaling, when there's broad expansion happening, there is a nerve there which sends a signal to the parasympathetic system and telling it, no, now we are having short, big breaths, good oxygen is going, all is good, we are safe. Now the parasympathetic system relaxes you immediately. Yes, because before that, when I'm in a stress state, my breath is short. We don't realize it, but it's a normal state now. We're not actually taking proper breaths. If you look back at your day, you will realize that you've not actually taken a proper normal breath. It's literally just that state. Yes, so having this as a tool is very, very helpful in your day. Other one is box breathing, like as you call it, it's box breathing. So box breathing, you go 4 seconds inhale, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds exhale, and 4 seconds hold. Right. So let's start now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are two very simple, very, very simple breathing techniques that can immediately relax you anywhere that you go. Yes. So with this, I would like to end my presentation to leave you in a more relaxed state. Any questions regarding to what I have mentioned here, feel free to ask. Just a second, I'm going to get back to you guys so that I can see what you're like. Yes. Yes. So yeah, that was the presentation. Of course, I'm sure you might have a few questions. Yes. So if you have any questions about anything, the science of it or the psychological aspect of taking breaks, feel free to ask. All I want to tell each one of you is that the more you mindfully practice it, what I mean by this is that, if you leave it up to key, okay, I'll do it, it's not going to happen because my auto mode is to do more. That's going to my autopilot will take over every day, right? So try to start with something small. As I said about, putting 3 alarms in the day, start with that. You'll start seeing the benefits of that, and slowly you can start doing more and more with it. But start with one step and do it responsibly. Pick something, take on a responsibility of yourself to doing it. Thank you so much, Bhageshri. I'm not sure if there were questions in between because I couldn't see. Were there any questions that I missed?
No, there weren't any.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I think I think the breathing technique was so calming that I think we can end on a very calm note and continue into our lives. There's a lot of comments for you on just thanking you for the session.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Yes, that's why I wanted to end with the breathing session because it is definitely very relaxing. It's very calming. I do it every day. Every time I catch myself being in a very anxious state, I just take a minute and I just do this and let myself go into the state of relaxed state. And then I can get back to doing whatever I was doing. Just takes a minute, yes? So please do it. I really want to tell every one of you, this is your responsibility towards yourself. right? Our conditioning, our life experiences, and what we've been through in our life has actually put us in the state of being, right? Where we're in this chase. Now that you understand it and know it, you have to take the responsibility of making sure that, I can break out of it and take care of myself better. Yes.